going to be doing today is changing the carburetor on an x22GT. So you'll notice this is a GY6 engine, so the carburetor is a little bit different on this. It's got an electronic choke on it right here. These are all the tools you're going to need: a set of cutters, a set of needle nose, Phillips screwdriver, and a 12mm wrench. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we'll let our camera guy take a look around and everything, but we're going to remove our throttle cable, which is on the other side here. So to do that, you just rotate the throttle like that, hold it in place, and then you just have to take the cable out. It's that simple. And you can take your 12mm wrench and just loosen that nut off and slip it out of there, and just kind of hitch it down here so it's not in the way. Next, we're going to pull off our vacuum hose right there. That's the only hose that comes off the left-hand side of the carburetor, so you don't really have to worry about hose placement or anything like that. The only other hose, vacuum hose here, goes into the intake, and you won't be taking the intake off. The intake actually stays on. So we'll do that all from the opposite side, and we have to undo some unplugging. But right now we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna loosen off our straps here that hold it onto the intakes. So there's one on the front intake and one on the back intake. So anytime that usually when they have something like this, they always put the screw on the bottom. So we're gonna go to the bottom with our Phillips screwdriver, and I'm just gonna loosen up these hose clamps. Okay, so one hose clamp is off. I'm gonna go to the other one. You don't have to take the screw right out, just loosen it off. Okay, so it's loose. Our carb's gonna move around in there. Yep, perfect. Okay, so before I pop the carb out, it's like I said, it's really easy to pop out. We're just gonna go to the other side, and we're gonna remove the fuel line, and then I'll show you about the plugs up here and things, but it's not a big issue. We're gonna come over here first. You have your fuel line, it goes into the right, you'll see it comes off the fuel filter, goes down into your first little nipple here. So I'll reach up and I'll take it off first. Okay. There we go. Just hanging on the outside of the bike here. Okay. Then there's a vacuum line here. You're gonna have to remove it. It goes from the carb up to your temperature sensor. So we're just gonna remove that. Okay, we'll take that vacuum hose off too. Sometimes if you find a vacuum hose, you're having a hard time, you pull on it, doesn't want to remove, just go back up with your needle nose and just take it off with that. There we go. My vacuum hose, I don't want to lose that, so I'll put that down here too. Just like that. And then we're gonna go up just underneath the tank here. You're gonna see there's a little zip tie there, so I'm just gonna get my snips so I can snip that off. There we go. And then we'll pull down the wires. These are the wires all right here that are going to be going to right here to your carburetor. So you'll want to remove the red plug, and there's a little yellow push-in plug that goes off to the side. And then if you come back down here again, you're going to see coming off here there's one more wire, and it goes to the temperature sensor, and you pull that off. Okay, so that now basically the carb is basically out. We'll raise it up. I'll pull it out of the intake so we can take it off. Oh, I might have to take it up through the top, so it's not in the way you're hurting anything or banging anything. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot there's a little vent hose right down at the bottom. And that's just an overflow for the carburetor. So we'll go ahead and we'll pinch that off. Do not like that spring on there. You might have to hold the spring back just to get this clamp off, but it's not that big a deal. Okay. And we'll just try to take it off my hands, see if it'll move. But no, yeah, perfect. So all those hoses are off. Oh, and we got a little bit of gas leaking out the bottom. So this is a GY6 carb. I'm just gonna empty some gas so I don't get it all over myself when I'm showing you here. Okay, so this is for the electronic choke. So basically what this does is it heats up inside here so that there's no choke door that's quite the same on this. When you actually open the door here, this opens to the intake to allow gas to come in. So this is your fuel inlet. This is an overflow hose. These two hoses are not used. Or I'm sorry, this hose is not used. This one here is a vacuum line, so it goes in, but you don't need this one on. And we'll switch over to the other side. Here's your throttle control. This is another vacuum line. So when you put this carb back in, we're just gonna put it back in the bike because there's nothing wrong with this carburetor. It worked perfect. We just wanted to do a quick video of how to do it. So again, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go back, we're gonna put it in the same way as we took it out. Okay, so now we're gonna put the carb back in. It's the same way as that we took it out. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna move these wires out of the way because they're kind of stuck in my way. Okay, so we're gonna put the carb straight down. Then we're gonna take our rear intake right here and we're gonna put it on first. The rear intake is solid. It's not really solid. It's just a firmer rubber, but we'll get it in place there first. Perfect. And the reason we do that is because the front one is very flexible. So we're gonna go ahead and put our hose clamp back on the top of that. Okay, and then we're gonna put that out of the way, and we're gonna put the front one on. And you can go ahead and tighten these in place right away. And that way you won't forget to do it later. So again, we're gonna get our screwdriver. Oh, I'm gonna lay my old bones down there on the floor and I'm gonna put them in. And when you come to doing these hose clamps, don't put them in too tight because you'll just strip them. That one's nice and tight. Now I'm gonna just do the other one real quick. Again, not too tight, you'll just strip the hose clamp and you don't want to do that. Okay, we'll just keep our screw in here. That one's nice and tight too. Okay, so now while we're at this side, we might as well go ahead and put our throttle together. So we're gonna go back to the top here. And we're gonna tighten our 12 down. Just gonna flop our throttle cable down for a sec. Okay. There was a reason I didn't have you move that front nut. Because it's already set in place, sir. So rather than have to mess around with our throttle again and try to set that up all over again, we already have it set. So we just have to tighten in this bolt here and that's it. Okay, now we'll go ahead and put our throttle cable back on. That's the same as before. Just put the bottom in first. Okay, so you just put your throttle cable back on the bottom here, and like we didn't move this front nut. We did that on purpose because we wanted it to stay where it was for the adjustment of that cable. So now we're just going to tighten up our bolt here. It doesn't need to go in real super tight. Then we're just going to put our cable in. We're going to rotate our throttle back like we did before. Put the cable in the notch at the bottom, and there, cable's back on. Now, remember we had that one vacuum line come off this side. So we're going to take it, it's right here, and we're going to put it back on, slip it in place. Oh, I just have to reach underneath and grab my needle. Okay, because we want to put that clamp back in place. Okay, my clamp's back in. Now we're going to go to the other side. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the other side, a little bit more important because you have your fuel lines, things like that. So your fuel line is the bigger line. It goes in to your first port right here. Okay. And we'll go ahead and put the clamp in place. Okay, this was the one with the big spring, was our overflow for the bottom. We'll go ahead and put that in place. Okay, set that in there. And we had one vacuum line right here. And it goes into the bottom right here. So slip that up into place. Okay, so now I just have to put that clamp in place. Clamp jumped right out of my hand. Okay. Okay, that clamp is in place. Okay, so next we remember our yellow wire here. We have to plug it in here. Make sure that's nice and tight. Then we go underneath. We have a little 2-prong plug right here. That plugs that red plug into it. Make sure it's plugged in good and tight. And then you have one left, and that goes down here to your temperature sensor, and it just pushes on. So we push that on tight, and that's it. So then you would take a zip tie. Just zip tie these wires up so they don't get wet. You don't want water splashing up on those. Then you take and you put there's a triangle fairing here. It's very easy to put on. Then you have one more fairing here, and the same on the other side, and put your seat on. We're not going to do that right away because we're going to be doing a few videos on this bike for different people and for YouTube. So I just wanted to show you that. That's how you install a new carb on a GY6 x22 250.